Hello and welcome to Smitty's. I am a wood cutting fanatic who loves to run a chainsaw. I run alcohol chainsaws, ported chainsaws, I race chainsaws, and I even run the occasional vintage. Now remember, I cannot do this without you. You're everything to the channel, so please remember, subscribe, give that thumbs up, leave that comment. Today, we are going to have a lot of fun.
So how you doing? Hey, I just got home from work. It's getting close to dark, but I wanted to try to take this opportunity to give the 390 with the 385 top end that I ported up and everything. I'm looking to try to give it a little bit of a test run because, you know, I want to make sure I didn't build a slouch, you know what I mean? So that's what we're going to do here today. Hopefully it's not a slouch or a slug. Hopefully it actually does something. There's all sorts of issues with this saw. The top plastic, it doesn't have any screws in it. The starter's having issues. You know, there's issues all over this thing that need repaired. But today, I mean, it even needs crank bearings. But, you know, today we're just kind of looking to see how well it runs. You know, see if my port work performs, you know. That way, if I feel like it needs tweaked, whenever I disassemble the saw to put bearings in it, I can make some tweaks. You know what I mean? So, yeah, fingers crossed. Got a lot of repairs to make, all that sorts of stuff. The chain on this thing is a mystery. It's the first thing I could find with that had a bar sitting there that I could throw on and, you know, that I could run. So it's a 28-inch bar. So she's a mystery in how sharp it is, so we're going to find out there. But let's cross our fingers and hope this all performs. Alrighty, hopefully it doesn't turn into a slug. So here we're going to start out. We're going to have to do some tuning, and I'm actually at the firewood pile. I'm going to have to make a couple of cookies off of it, just because I needed something a little bit larger, or you know, to make some test cuts on. So we're going to make a couple of cookies here. We're going to start out on probably something softer, just to work on the tuning and then get into something bigger, and hopefully it goes. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a disaster. So here we go. You ready? Cutting like it's frozen. It's been hovering at like the high 20s for the last couple of days. And the chain is subpar. It definitely needs attention. I'll give it one more cut. Change is subpar or whatever. I don't want to keep running it like this. You know what I mean? That's kind of funny. I had to re-drill and tap 3 of the holes just to get a screw in there. And they still, like, I knew they weren't holding that well. But hey, at least our starter's off now. We can work on the starter pawl. And I can tell you this one here looks a little bent. That might be what's causing our issues. But yeah, as you can see, we got issues to fix. But I think she's running pretty good, don't you? It'll be curious. I'm curious to see how this thing progresses, but I'm pretty happy right now. So she actually ran pretty decent, didn't she? We'll get a tack on it here the next time we give it a test run. We're going to give it a couple of these test runs just to get a good full feeling for how it's running. You know what I mean? But we'll be getting a tack on it during one of these test runs. That way, you know, we can kind of make any decisions if we want to make any changes in the future. Now, those of you who are curious about the port work, well, you know, she's one of my race saws. It's like, do I want to give all that information away? You know, but let me give you a kind of general idea. So I machined a pop-up into the piston. It's at about 40 thousandths pop-up. Took about 40 thousandths out of the combustion chamber. Then I set my squish at 25 thousandths. The one thing I did in the machine is the piston. So I didn't take all my numbers from the adjustments on the cylinder. I actually took some of my numbers off of the piston. I machined like a little bit of a taper on the piston to kind of just not a whole lot, but just enough to kind of adjust the timing, you know, just enough that things would crack open just a little sooner. You know what I mean? You can definitely tell when you're looking at it though. What else? Exhaust is high. I can't remember. The intake, there's not a lot changed on the intake as far as timing goes. I can tell you it is 81 or 82. I'm trying to remember. It's somewhere around there. It's like 81, I think, though. As far as the transfers are concerned, the lowers, I did open up the lowers a little bit, not tremendously, just to basically enhance them for better flow. You know, kind of change things up in the way that flows and everything. The uppers, not a drastic difference in the uppers. There was like a little bit of a tiny shelf at the upper part of the upper. I knocked that off, which might have changed it 2 degrees at most. My effort was actually more towards the width of the upper. I did do more towards the width on the intake side. So just to help get the charge, you know, wrapped around a little bit better. And then I think that's it. Not a drastic build. You know, nothing super drastic, but so the blowdown is basically whatever it was. I didn't check it. It's sitting right around 30 degrees, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. because, you know, I'm not a big fan of changing blowdown numbers. I'm more of a fan of going wider before you raise them. But, you know, different people have their methods. It's not so much about the numbers as much. So if you get into reading about porting and all that stuff, they don't talk about the numbers so much. It's more about the port area. So it's the total exhaust port area, the total blowdown area, the total transfer area, the total intake area. That's what they talk about more when you're reading about it and stuff. They don't really go off the numbers as much as what the chainsaw world does. But, you know, it's more about doing your port maps and getting, you know, everything set through your port maps and getting, you know, figuring out your port areas and everything. So that's kind of how the way I looked at this build. But hey, I hope you enjoyed this one. And the next time we give this saw a test run, we'll get a tack on it and a better chain. So, and this wood is definitely cutting like it's frozen, which kind of sucks because it makes it suck, if you know what I mean. Hey, it is what it is, and we'll get that sharpened up a little bit better. I want to actually run this on a 24-inch bar. I don't want to run a 28. I actually have no intention of ever taking it to a 28. I really want to run it on a 24. So I just need to, I think I'm out of 24-inch bars. I need to get another one for this saw. So yeah, I'm going to have to scrounge up a 24-inch bar for this saw. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. This is the 390 with a 385 top end that I'm working on for Sawfest. Alrighty, later.